Guys, let's face it, Windows 11 sucks. From all the AI stuff being shoved down our throat to installing Windows on a brand new gaming PC only to realize 3 to 4 gigs of your RAM is already being used before you do anything else, Windows is making PC gaming a bit insufferable. But the best part is we live in an era where Linux PC gaming is the best it has ever been, and on this channel we have tested many of Linux distros, and today we're here to test another one. We're going to be testing Fedora KDE Plasma, and we're going to tell you why as a budget PC gamer this might be the distro for you, and we'll show you guys how to set it all up after a word from today's sponsor.
Organization and planning, it's tough to get right, especially when you have a whole team you need to keep on the same page. Here at Toasty Bros, we use today's video sponsor AccuFlow for easy daily planning and time blocking. AccuFlow is the all-in-one solution that brings essential productivity tools into a universal inbox that works as your second brain. AccuFlow simplifies time management by allowing users to block time for tasks directly on their calendar. This feature helps improve focus, minimizes procrastination, and enhances productivity. Pair this with the seamless connections to things like Gmail, Slack, Todoist, and more. AccuFlow consolidates tasks from multiple platforms into one centralized location for easy management. And after using the app for a bit, the AI Copilot enhances productivity by learning user habits and making intelligent suggestions. It also auto-assigns tasks based on individual preferences and will offer smart nudges to improve how you use your time. AccuFlow even has a daily rituals feature that offers a moment to review daily progress and planning. And with the productivity stats, you can reveal trends and insights over time. AccuFlow has helped boost productivity around our office with its sleek UI, innovating features, and seamless integration. It's the first tool that all members of our team have been able to perfectly utilize and incorporate into their daily workflow. If you're interested in learning more or in signing up for AccuFlow today, check out the links in the description down below. Big thanks to AccuFlow for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
So what the heck is Fedora KDE Plasma? Well, it's based on Fedora Linux, obviously, but it does have the KDE Plasma desktop experience, which for simple terms makes it a very customizable and lightweight setup that might be very similar to you as a Windows user. As a PC gamer, this is a great distro because it is really lightweight, meaning you're going to give back all your precious resources on your budget gaming PC that normally Windows will take away from you, while being a super polished operating system that gets drivers really quickly, especially if you're rocking an AMD GPU, with built-in kernel updates and the ability to get the latest Proton updates as well, which for those who aren't aware, Proton is the compatibility layer that makes Linux gaming so usable nowadays, where it could take a Windows application that wasn't programmed directly for Linux and run that compatibility layer to make it run on Linux. So we don't have to worry about developers forcing their game to actually work on Linux. It's really a miracle, and it's why the Steam Deck has gotten so popular and why Linux PC gaming has become much more accessible, along with a bunch of other things. Guys, in the Linux community, if I missed some of the other stuff, again, I'm just a Linux noob trying to learn with you guys. Let me know down below what you think is the biggest reason why PC gaming on Linux has grown so much. But in this video, we're gonna do the same thing we normally do when we test a Linux distro. We're gonna take our OpenAir test bench, which as you can see right here, sitting right next to me, features a Ryzen 5 9600X, 32 gigs of very expensive DDR5 memory, an RX 9060 XT 16 gig, and I believe a 1TB Gen 4 NVMe is underneath here. We are using an ASRock B850 Steel Legend Wi-Fi board, if that matters to you. Really, it won't matter at all, but this is a standardized test bench so we can get Linux installed, specifically Fedora KDE Plasma, and then we're going to dive into gaming to see if it's super simple and plug and play like everyone says it is, like we've seen with other Linux distros. It actually is, and then we'll show you the performance to see if the performance is worth it, what kind of resources we're using while we're in Linux. But before we get too ahead of ourselves and dive into gaming and talk about all the stuff that works on this test bench, we're going to build our flash drive. The flash drive you need to install your Linux distro, which is very similar to Windows, by the way, and Fedora Linux makes this super easy, especially Fedora KDE Plasma with their own application that allows you to build a live ISO. I'll explain how this works. Let's go to the voiceover room and figure this out. Alright guys, so this is the website for Fedora KDE Plasma Desktop, the next generation personal desktop. So again, super easy to install distro, and I really like all the documentation they do provide, and honestly, the website makes it super new user friendly. They don't really overwhelm you with all these different buzzwords and Linux terms that you should know as like a Linux user. They make it very simple. They talk about how it's reliable, it's customizable, trusted, free and private, and you can make the most out of your device. They also say features for everyone, showing people how content creators can get this and have support for HDR displays, advanced color management, and use different editing software that is free within Linux, like Kdenlive. That was one I tried during my 30-day Linux challenge that worked out pretty well. Can also show for scientists, for developers, and the best part right here, for gamers. With KDE Plasma's lightweight yet visually polished environment, you can maximize your responsiveness, be super snappy within this operating system, and bring life to old hardware or high-end rigs. So super cool here. You can also do widgets as well, which is pretty cool, and it's a very, very straightforward website. So we're gonna build our flash drive, which all you're gonna need is a USB drive. I do recommend these Micro Center flash drives that you can pick up on Amazon. I already have tape around this one to label this one after the fact, but these are 32 gig flash drives you can pick up. They're USB 3. They're pretty solid. We use a lot of them around the office, but I recommend you go to the website, fedoraproject.org. From there, we're gonna go to download now. Now, the one cool thing about this Linux distro is the Fedora Media Writer. Typically, when you get a Linux distro or even a Windows install, unless you're using the Windows Media Creation tool, you're gonna need a program like Rufus or Balena Etcher or some of those bootable USB tools that will make your flash drive for you from the ISO. But Fedora has their own. So all you have to do is download the ISO itself. So we'll go ahead and have that download in the background. And then you do download the Fedora Media Writer. You install it on your PC. So go ahead and download this from GitHub. So download the exe because we're currently running a Windows system. And then once everything's downloaded and installed, you can just point to the ISO that you did download. So once this finishes downloading, we're going to go ahead and open this file up. So here's this. We're going to go ahead and install this application. Not a huge fan that it is an installable application. I would have liked if it was just a file that you could have on your PC and open up and use, but you know what, whatever, an install app, might as well install it. So we are waiting for our ISO to finish going, but you can actually download the image automatically if you wanted to with your flash drive, which I'm curious. Can you pick which one you want? Oh yeah, Fedora KDE Plasma. So really, we don't even need to download the ISO. You can just do it this way. And then from there, you pick your version, Intel AMD, good to go, download and write. You pick your drive, flash drive right here, and you hit download and write. It'll erase everything and download the ISO that I want. And just like that, it is going to download the ISO and write it to my drive. Very simple. So then all you gotta do is wait for this download to finish, and then you'll have a bootable USB like this one that I already made in the future to save me some time. So let's go ahead and take this USB, plug it up to our gaming PC, and see how easy it is to install. All right, guys, we are now ready to install Fedora KDE Plasma on our gaming PC. Hopefully this works just fine. We've got our USB plugged up to a USB 3 port on our little test bench right here, and we're going to hit the power button. And we're gonna spam delete because this actually has Windows X Lite installed still from the other video we did. So we're gonna get into the BIOS, boot to that new drive, and then wipe that drive with Fedora. Now, the benefit of this Fedora KDE Plasma is it is a live ISO, meaning once you build that USB, you can just boot to the live version of Fedora KDE Plasma and kind of mess around with it before you do your final install. I do apologize, it's probably incredibly bright right now. Scroll down here, let's boot to our flash drive. And you can mess around with it until you decide you want to permanently install it. So go ahead and start the desktop live environment. But once you're in here, you also get the option to go ahead and start the install, which is very similar to how SteamOS functions. So ignore this little error right here. If you get it, it's just going to boot right in. As you guys can see, we've got the Fedora logo, a little spinning logo loading in. And then we should be into the environment running off a flash drive. That's the cool thing about Linux. There's a lot of distros you can live use just from a flash drive. Pretty cool. All right, guys, so we are in Fedora Linux, and we're just gonna jump straight to installing because we're not wanting to mess around. We wanna get the official install version. So we're gonna install the hard drive, waiting till it loads. Let's see how difficult this is gonna be. All right, so we're gonna pick English for our keyboard and English for our language. Simple. Go next. Automatically set time zone, good. Installation method, we're going to use the entire disk, remove all partitions. You can actually share operating systems, so you can actually dual boot with Windows if you want to try it, so that's pretty cool. We'll go to the storage configuration, encrypt your data, don't need to worry about that. We're going to create an account. I'm going to be Toasty Matt. Username is going to be Toasty Matt. Password, we're just going to make 1, 2, 3, 4. Must be 6, so they're going to make me do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I will need these for any sort of console commands I will do. So it is recommended to make a password, but in this case, it actually is making me make a password. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I documented that. It is going to delete everything from my NVMe drive and install. I understand all my data will be erased. Erase data and install. So here we go, baby. We'll see how long it takes for the KDE Plasma desktop edition of Fedora Linux to get installed. And then once we boot in, how long will it take us to be up and running in gaming and getting Steam downloaded? We'll find out. All right, guys, so it looks like we have it installed successfully. It says to reboot our system to boot right in. So we'll go ahead and hit restart. Restart now and remove our flash drive. Hopefully this works. Seems simple so far. Oh, look at that. We are on the desktop screen. Let's type in my very secure password. And just like that, we are now in Fedora. All right, so let's see what the Welcome Center gives us. So let's go to next. access internet. I should probably plug up some Ethernet so I can actually access the internet. So let's do that. Make sure that works natively. Plasma extremely feature-rich design for supercharged productivity. Click the Carzilla, see some other what you can do. You can see overview command center, vaults and everything. That's pretty cool. Find great apps. Oh, so we're in Discover now. No need to search for the web download app installers or use a command line. You can use Discover, which is basically like an app store. So we can get stuff installed. I'm wondering, is Steam in here? There's a lot of stuff installed and updates out the galore. System update, a 5 gig system update. That is insane. But you know what? That was one of the benefits that they did say about this version of Fedora is you do get all the latest updates. So we will run through that once we get there. We don't really share anything, enable third-party repositories, don't need to worry about that. And that is pretty much it. So I'm just gonna go through, let's back up a little bit. I'm gonna just see if I can just download Steam. I mean, as you should. So let's go to Google, Steam download. Welcome to Steam. Install Steam, install Steam. Okay, so on a quick Google search, Steam install a little more difficult than other distros. Some other ones have had Steam either pre-installed or the App Store they have already has Steam ready to go. With this not being necessarily a gaming distro, it is good for gaming, but it's not gaming focused. Doesn't really surprise me too much, but what I need to do is to add a new repository through console. It says using terminal, but I'm assuming they mean console when I'm just doing this quick search, that'll allow me to download it through that repository. So let's see if I can just make this work. Sudo command not found. Nice. Let's see, Steam installation. Let's actually just read the notes from here. So enable the RPM Fusion non-free external repository. All right, so we're going to install this. So let's do copy paste, hit enter. We trust you received the lecture from the local system administrator. So reason, type your password. I'll put this back in the middle so you guys can see this. Okay, so we're installing this repository, which should give us access to the Steam download. So skip to packages from repository, that is fine. Let's see, run the following with users. Okay, let's do this, command 2. All right, that's done. And then we should be able to do sudo dnf install steam-y. Let's see, does this work? Okay, we are downloading, and oh, here we go, a lot of downloading. A lot of things are happening. Key has been imported. Okay, we're verifying files. Now, while this is doing that, I did notice as well, you can use the software GUI package manager as well to get it, but there is extra steps to basically open up the ability to install Steam. So we're letting all this go, and let's see if Steam just ends up popping up. All right, so we are still downloading. This is actually, I don't know if it's because we added that repository and it's maybe taking more time. This is taking a little bit to install this. All right, so it says complete. Do we have Steam? We do, yay. Again, that did take a little while, but we should have Steam ready to go. Where are you at, Steam? And there you go, sick. Let me sign in, make sure everything is working all right. All right, guys, so it's been a couple days. I got stuff downloaded on Steam. I got everything kind of set up to where it's at the minimum where I'm just ready to game, which is the whole point of this series, to see how hard it is to get from start to finish to game on this Linux distro. And we're just gonna do a quick tour of this operating system. So the KDE Plasma desktop, very straightforward, I will say. Just looking at everything, seems like a very Windows-esque environment, or something I'm familiar to. So we have our typical file explorer with desktop documents, downloads, music, pictures, videos, and trash. We also have access to network drives. We have the flash drives popping up. We see all our local drives as well. And then if we close out here and go to the start menu, we have a bunch of applications that are pre-installed and are already organized for us. So under graphics, we seem to have LibreOffice already installed. That is a free open source version of like an office software that works for you guys at home if you want to switch away from Microsoft, which I highly suggest for savings of time and, well, all the other reasons that are out there. Under internet, we do have a couple options here, some messengers that are built in. We do have Steam installed, which we showed you guys how to install Steam. Little bit more involved than it was typically on other distros that are more gaming focused, that have a gaming setup involved where you can just kind of one-click install Steam, but it wasn't too bad. Multimedia, we also have system settings, so you can customize your settings, get access to the console. Let's look at system monitor real quick to see what our usages are like just chilling on the desktop. And right now, CPU not being used very much, GPU is about 5%, and RAM usage for about 2.9 gigs being used, which isn't crazy, but it looks like we just were running an update in the background, so I might be able to tell here. I've not actually looked at this system resources thing before to see what's taking up a lot. So Plasma Shell is what's using a majority of our system memory with a couple other background tasks. Y'all can let me know down below what you think of these, but I would say in Windows right now, we would probably be using about 5 gigs of RAM just chilling on the desktop. So in terms of saving resources, this is a lightweight operating system. 2.9 gigs is not too bad. And for those at home who know Linux more than I do, I bet there's way more ways to optimize this even further to make it even more lightweight. But let's launch Steam real quick because I installed some games and I'll show you guys exactly how easy that was. But everything should be plug and play. Now, you could show games in here that only run on Linux when you toggle this, but theoretically, those are just games with, which I believe, I don't know, has Steam updated this? It used to be when you turn on only show games that run on Linux, it only show games that run natively on Linux, but it looks like now it doesn't do that. It actually shows all the games that'll run on the Proton compatibility layer, which is kind of cool because it didn't filter any of my games out. If you go to settings here, we scroll down to compatibility. Right now we're on Proton Experimental. We'll mess with this a little bit if it doesn't work on this. Sometimes it works based on my experience, and if not, there are so many different versions of Proton you can try. Depending on the game, a different version might work better than others. Basically, that compatibility layer that takes a Windows-coded game and allows it to run on Linux. It's what made Linux gaming possible today, but I'm gonna let this Arc Raiders update download. We're just gonna use the Steam overlay that's built in. You can install a program like Goverlay, which also is part of Mango HUD, which is a program that we did use in previous Linux distros. It's hit or miss for me. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you can install that and it's quite straightforward if you want to install that on here and get more in-depth analytics. But for the sake of the video, I think the Steam overlay is going to work perfectly fine, and they've upgraded that so much more, so it's also going to be lightweight, so we don't have to install any other background tasks. We're just using what's built into Steam. We have a wide range of different games. This will be my first time launching Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, so that'd be cool. But we're going to launch these games, see how they work with Proton, and see if this Fedora install, which I will say, no major issue so far, is a Linux distro you should consider as a PC gamer. All right, guys, we are in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and we're currently running the following settings. I'm at the very start of the game, by the way, so I don't really know how much action's going on here. But anyways, we're currently running, let's go to graphics, 1440p, high preset, with 120 FOV and FSR 3.1 set to quality. Now, with this hardware, we shouldn't have any problems running a game like this. As you guys can see, we're getting 100 FPS in a scene where there is a decent amount of stuff happening right now. But again, we're running FSR, it's working great. We're running Proton Experimental out of the box, no problems whatsoever. Oh goodness, I should probably shoot at them, shouldn't I? Oh, they're coming inside. Oh goodness. But we're getting about 90 to like 103 FPS. Was that supposed to be shooting up there? Uh-oh. All right, and yeah, FPS holding up pretty good. Follow the commander. All right, we gotta follow the commander to Dry Devil. This is, again, it's just a plug and play game. I just launched it, had Proton Experimental going, and it's just working. Now, I will say, I believe this is working the best because it is AMD hardware. If you guys saw my 30-day Linux challenge where I swapped to Cashy OS, we had more issues because of the fact that we was running an NVIDIA GPU, but running all AMD hardware and an AMD GPU has definitely led to much better overall performance numbers. Ooh, let's go. Too slow? What do you mean too slow? Yeah, I'm saying this is not running too bad. Not running too bad. Again, we're running 1440p here. GPU usage at 100%. System resources-wise, we have about 10 gigs of system memory across the board, including the operating system. So pretty efficient, if I'm being honest. But everything is looking good. Let's go ahead and swap to another game. Let's try something like, let's do CS. CS is going to have a bit of a different twist because it's going to be an esports title with the built-in function of trying to have like really high FPS numbers. Hey, get up that ladder. I'm getting distracted, guys, sorry. Oh, and I'm dying. Was I dying? Okay. But we're gonna go ahead and switch to CS2 because that's a fun test to show you guys what this thing can do because, hey, competitive game. You can also play on Linux. Let's show you what it's capable of. Down you go. All right, guys, we are in CS2. And as you guys can see, the FPS is absolutely perfect. Getting about 300 to 400 FPS. I mean, you cannot complain too much about this FPS. we're getting good utilization here. It's total system memory, about 9.8 gigs being used. GPU at 100%. We're at 1440p low settings, trying to just maximize our FPS at 1440p. We could also play 1080p if we want to. And I don't see anything glaring to where I'd be like, yeah, on Windows, we'd be getting worse performance. No, that's not the case at all. We're actually probably getting slightly better FPS when running this all AMD hardware configuration in this operating system. And it's just super snappy. I mean, just look at this alt tab that I just did. Boom, back in game. We are using borderless window, which you can use in Windows, so I'm not acting like this is like game changing or anything, but there is something about this operating system that just feels much snappier than running a standard operating system that you normally would. Arabs open up a browser. Oh wow, we're in Firefox now, and we can show you guys how you do some tutorials in Linux. Woo, there you go, cool, back to the game, we're good. The system's just overall really responsive, and I think this is a cool distro for those who just want a no-nonsense, usable desktop that just works. And there's nothing like finicky about it. There are some applications that may require you to open up console, but is that the worst thing in the world? You could learn something new when you open up console, which is pretty cool. Would it sway the average user from switching to it who doesn't want to learn new things? Potentially, because I know there's some gamers who just want to get up and game, but I will say, once you get Steam installed, that is probably the hardest part about getting up and gaming on this. But yeah, CS2, 300 FPS. Let me run through here real quick, see if I can get a couple more shots. Ooh. Oh, no, I can't hit that. Ooh, that was embarrassing. Oh, you don't know I'm on a Linux distro. You don't know that. I'm wearing a fedora right now. Calcer, if you don't put a fedora on my head. This is the worst mouse for our benchmarks. It's a heavy Corsair mouse. I'm over here making excuses for the mouse. Crazy. Hey, CS looking pretty good. I'm gonna try one more game and then I'm gonna bring Jackson in here because I've kind of been just running solo setting up this whole Linux thing. I want to get Jackson to experience it because he, full-time Windows user, would love to see what he thinks of this operating system and have him play a couple games on it and see what his thoughts are on the performance, because I'm pretty impressed with this install of Fedora. Fedora KDE Plasma. Pretty cool Linux distro that I'm glad Joe recommended I try. All right, guys, we are now testing Clair Obscur Expedition 33, running the following settings. We are on FSR set to quality, 1440p, on the high preset, and we're gonna run around here. We're getting about 80 FPS. Not too bad. Let's get in a little fight here and see what's going on, but hey, this is a game made by an indie studio, won a bunch of awards, and it just launches on Linux, no problem. The beauty of Proton compatibility, guys, the absolute beauty of it, it just works. Now, I know I probably won't end up doing a whole new video again where I do another 30-day Linux challenge, because I don't think repeating that whole challenge would be great for you guys. But I'm just wondering, now that I have an all AMD system at home, I feel like my PC experience in Linux would be much better, because that was the biggest issue I had, and I feel like I keep reiterating that. I had so many random bugs and issues that I just wasn't happy with because of running an NVIDIA GPU, but all AMD hardware just seems to just work. And I know some people have no problems running an NVIDIA GPU on Linux depending on the distro, but for me, I was just having so many random bugs. But every time I come back to this office and test a new distro on this test bench, I'm always just like, wow, it works. It works for the average gamer. I don't know why most people can't switch to it if they are just gaming. Now again, we do not have access to popular titles that use anti-cheat, so we can't play games like Fortnite, we can't play Call of Duty, we can't play a bunch of different games that require an anti-cheat that will not work on Linux because of the kernel level access. Now, whatever you think about kernel level access, that is a problem. And it's something where average gamers are not going to switch to Linux distros no matter what you tell them, because you can't play the games that they want to play. No matter how intrusive or not intrusive you think kernel level access is for anti-cheat, people are not going to like that. So I'm going to bring in one of those gamers like Jackson, who plays a lot of esports titles that do require that kernel level access of anti-cheat, to try testing the Linux distro so he can see what he thinks about it. But no matter what, at the end of the day, people like that are not going to switch over to Linux fully because they're not going to want to give up their games, which I totally don't blame them. But let's see what Jackson has to think about benchmarking this setup.
All right, so I'm playing on some Fedora OS right now, which I wouldn't even know, because like once you're in the game, it's like what really tells me. Besides the overlay, I guess looks like, no, that's just Steam's overlay.
It's just Steam's. Yeah, we're actually using Steam's this time. We're not using the Goverlay or the Mango HUD, which is one that's popular in Linux. So really, again, we talked to you guys before. If you're watching the channel, Jackson is somebody who plays a lot of esports titles. So Linux has never really been the main driving factor to switch because, well, you know, there's a lot of anti-cheat issues what I've talked about earlier in this video. But in terms of usability, you know, this is just a cool OS.
Yeah, and I mean, the game is running great. I can't really say it's gonna run, you know, any better on a more expensive, like I'm gonna call this expensive because right now it is, but I can't really say it's gonna run way better than if you were running Windows, but I will say it feels really good, and I mean, I'm not seeing any issues. We're running 1440p, we're running like medium-high settings, we have a little bit of FSR going, and it's very smooth. And obviously one of the big advantages you can get with Linux is, you know, faster load times into games, faster load times into the OS and everything. Screw you, Scampy.
Get the little Jonah. Yo!
Yo.
He's like, I didn't
yo,
mean that.
my
I
bad,
didn't
bro.
mean
Is there
that, bro.
another one? Oh my god.
The Scampy.
No! Don't hit him. Dude, the sensitivity's off the chart, though. That's not Linux's fault.
That's just that mouse.
Yeah, it's running pretty good. I'm curious to see
Probably Alt-Tab.
the Windows button.
Windows
does not
button.
work.
It does not Windows button. There you go.
Yeah, the recording still looks good. Okay.
So yeah, this is the first time looking at the OS, by the way. So we'll go ahead and use this as an opportunity to look around everything.
This feels like Mac. This feels very Mac right here. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so the KDE Plasma desktop is designed to be very user-friendly for people switching from Windows. So everything is supposed to be very similar. And then you should be able to do a bunch of customizations you normally would do. Stuff is pretty easy to navigate. The file system is very similar. It's just very plug and play. The only thing is, and we talked about in the video, is Steam was a little bit difficult to get installed. There are still times you do need to touch the console. And Steam was one of them because this is not a gaming-specific distro. It is gaming optimized in terms of being lightweight, but it's not like one where they're like making it super easy for you to get Steam.
And that's where you have the sub distros like Bazite and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But hey, once you get it though, it seems pretty cool. And I mean, it's kind of like the same thing we tell almost everybody with Linux is if you like to tinker, you're going to love Linux. If you just want to get up and game, you probably aren't going to love Linux necessarily.
All right, let's try one more game.
We are now in Arc Raiders, and we're actually running some pretty crazy settings. We're running 1440p, and we're doing full screen, AMD FSR set to balanced, and we're running Epic with dynamic high ray tracing, because, you know, 90 series, we can do it. Why not?
It's just something about AMD hardware in Linux, man. Like I was just talking about with my challenge, I had so many more issues in this, and every time I come back here and I test this test bench,
it's just perfect.
it just works fine. Like there's no problems. And I think that's just the really big selling point here with any Linux distro is I would love NVIDIA drivers to get better because people love NVIDIA GPUs, but if you are running all AMD hardware and you have been thinking about it, it is probably the easiest experience you could have.
In all honesty, I mean, there's really no, if you have 90 series, there's no disadvantages now.
No.
Ray tracing's good, streaming's good, everything good. We don't want that thing. That thing bad.
That thing is bad. That's a Rocketeer.
Yeah, we're getting over 100 FPS most of the time, so it's looking pretty good.
Using about 13 gigs of RAM. I know on desktop we were using about 2.5 gigs of RAM according to the system monitor.
Definitely less than Windows.
It's similar to those modified USBs of Windows that we've seen before, but again, those come with their own downsides. But
yeah,
but you know, it is cool. Again, system resources being allocated. It's really good for older PCs, but also if you're just trying to save as much resources as you can. You know, it's good to have even for higher end systems.
Yeah, I think the fun part of Linux and the modified Windows distros is just anything we can do to get Microsoft to maybe be like, hey, let's be a little more friendly to our resources, especially right now.
Yes.
When people can't afford tons of RAM and storage and stuff.
We can't afford the resources, Microsoft. Come on now. Let us be able to run 16 gigs of RAM, launch our game, and have background tasks without random drops and stuff.
With me, buddy. Oh gosh,
Maybe
maybe I'm gonna die.
Oh, this thing is durable.
Oh, no, I missed. Oh, he's got a shot on him. Reload. You're not gonna make it.
Woo.
Yeah. Where's the train?
Where's the train at? I need a train. Review the train, please.
Ah, yes. This is my favorite kind of train. The one that takes me home. We out here. Successful Arc Raider run.
Let's go.
Looking pretty good. Hey, I cannot complain about the performance and the fact that it launches the games. It's great.
Let's go and wrap this video up, guys.
We just got done showing you guys how to set up Fedora, any of the obstacles that we may have had along the way, and how we actually got into games. And of course, we had fun playing games because at the end of the day, what matters is that you can launch the games.
And again, it's going to have the same kernel level limitations that all Linux distros have, but in terms of getting installed to gaming, KDE Plasma version of Fedora OS did really well and was very simple to set up, minus the one issue of getting Steam installed from the console. But you know what? It was very easy to do once you learn how to do it. You get it installed and you're good to go. So all in all, fun Linux distro to try on this test bench. And as always, we're always open to try different ones that are great for gaming. Let us know down below if there's any other distros you want to see here on the channel.
And as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. And do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Now, if you're into Linux at PCBros.tech, we can build you an all AMD gaming PC and not even install Windows if you don't want us to.
We can do a lot of different stuff for you at PCBros.tech, whether you're looking for a gaming PC, a gaming laptop, or peripherals. You can come in store to our location in Louisville, Kentucky and buy stuff today. Use code TOSYBROS on checkout. You will save 3% on your next purchase. Also, enter our sweepstakes, guys, running through January. See you guys later. Goodbye.